Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're going to be taking a first look at a brand new game which comes out today on Steam, and that game is Until the Last Plane. It is developed by Carlo C. Games, and I believe this is a single-man project. I don't think there's much of a team behind it. I think it's really just sort of a one-man show. This is essentially an airbase management game. But it also has elements of combat, which is a little bit interesting. So it's not like Carrier Deck, where you just kind of get aircraft ready on an aircraft carrier, send them off, and then combat sort of happens. This is a game more about sort of blending the airbase activities with some actual combat activities as well. So as you jump in here, you can see this is the main menu of the screen. This is the main menu of the game. And you can see there's a tutorial option. I actually played this game when it was still in demo form, and I've already played through one of the campaigns sort of off screen, so I don't think I need to do the tutorial. And then you have campaign options. Those are the options to play. So if you go ahead and you jump into campaign, you can see there's 3 playable campaigns that come with the game. There's a US, USSR, and Germany. I kind of find it interesting they don't have a British campaign. You'd think you'd have some kind of Battle of Britain campaign, but it is more about strike than it is just, there's really no intercepts in the game. If you look at the U.S. campaign, for example, you can see it starts in Tunis in 1943, moves into Italy, and then Normandy for the hard campaign. The USSR, meanwhile, starts at Moscow, the Battle of Moscow, moves on to Stalingrad, and ends up in Kursk. And you can see you've got these nice little kind of pixelated graphics down here of your aircraft. And then the German campaign starts in Poland, moves into France, and then North Africa. Each campaign is progressively more difficult, and in each campaign your focus is really on earning command points that you can then move and use to upgrade your air bases and buy more planes and things like that. So we're going to play as the Germans. We're going to go with a medium difficulty campaign because I have played the easy campaign for the U.S. In the demo. I've now played the easy campaign for the Germans, and so I want to jump in and see how the medium campaign may or may not be somewhat different. Now you can see the Poland campaign, actually it doesn't say this, but the Poland campaign was a 4-day long campaign, so basically 4 days of airbase operations. The French campaign appears to be 5 days long, and we'll get into what that really means. But before we do that, we can choose a squadron emblem for our planes. You can see down here on the lower left, we've got a BF-109. We can go with an eagle, which apparently gives us some bonus for accuracy, but we lose some durability. We can go with a shark, which increases our combat moves, but reduces bombing and accuracy. We can go with a penguin, which gives us increased bombing, but reduced combat moves, or no emblem. So I think we're going to go ahead and go with a shark, because combat moves are really important to having your aircraft survive, even if it means less bombing and accuracy. I think my own great skill, this may not be true, can compensate for that. So we'll go with a shark logo for our squadron here. Plus, who doesn't want a freaking shark on their plane? I mean, maybe I'd go with a tiger, but that wasn't an option. Was it? No. Eagle, shark. Yeah, so we'll go shark. We're going to go ahead and jump into the French campaign, 1940. All right. The occupation of France must be supported by aviation. Take off with your squadron and try to destroy everything that flies or moves on the ground. Nick-Bean antennas have been installed. This will give you a lot of help during bombardment. I don't know what that means. What are Nick-Bean antennas? Is that some kind of radar thing? Victory, win at least 1 mission per day. Defeat, lose all your pilots. So you can see here we start with 90 command points. Difficulty is medium. And our squadron starts with 5 BF-109E3s. The Poland campaign, you started with 2 BF-109s and 2 Ju-87 Stukas. So interesting to see a slightly different squadron makeup here. Now we can see here this is the main menu. I don't know if you can pause by any chance. I'm not sure if it actually... Yeah, it is moving. I wish you could pause. In any event, this is your airfield. You've got 3 hangar spots for aircraft. Or 3 sort of stands where your aircraft can replenish, repair, things like that. You've got your warehouse down here, your workspace down here, your headquarters over here, and you've got your hangar over here. So first things first, if we click on the hangar, we can see we've got 5 aircraft, and then we've got 1 HS-126. The pilot is A. Kirsch. He is our recon pilot. You can see here the stats of the aircraft. fuel, fire resistance, maneuverability, durability, and then you see the pilot. Kirsch is a rookie. He's got 15 accuracy, 31 resistance, and 60 will. So we're going to go ahead and before we do anything else, we're just going to jump in with a recon flight. And I think we'll just send him off with a maximum range, which gives more risk, information, and range. But you can see by clicking to have him take off, he just immediately shoots off the runway, and we're immediately thrown into a reconnaissance flight here. So essentially you can see my recon plane here on the screen, and this is kind of the way all the combat and everything like that is done. But in the recon flights, for whatever reason, you don't actually have an option to turn your aircraft. So essentially I just kind of fly forward. We fly over one of these recon targets, which is sort of an outline of a target, I guess, through the clouds. And we took a picture, so we found one potential target. We'll continue flying forward as well, see if we come up with anything else. There's another target. I can't turn to take a better picture, but I guess it doesn't really matter. It just seems like, you know, the target is found if you take the picture at the right distance, if you will, down the map. So we've got 2 of 3 potential targets. We're running low on fuel. We'll take that final third target found. We run low on fuel, and the aircraft returns. So reconnaissance is complete. Targets found, 3. So now we'll go ahead and click on missions, and you can see here we have 3 different missions. We can bombard a factory twice, 3 times, or 3 times. Wind is weak, medium, or strong. Low temperature, and 2 of the 3. I don't really know. And then you can see the enemies that we're going to be facing are the same. So I'm going to go with the medium. The bombard 3 targets, but very weak wind. That should make bombing easier. Also, this looks like a more entry-level fighter than these guys, which look like they might be slightly more high performance. And I'm going to send 4 fighters out here. Everybody's fatigue and stress is low because they haven't flown any missions yet. So they're all good. But your crew's sort of fatigue and stress does build up over time. So as they fly more missions, they will take stress. As they take more stress, they become less effective. As they take more fatigue, they're able to fly less effectively. And if they take too much fatigue and you push them too hard, they could actually, you know, get shot down because of that. So you can see we immediately jump in, and we've got an enemy aircraft behind us here. B. Braun, one of our pilots, has an enemy fighter behind him. And so we've got 3 options. We have 5 moves left. The enemy has 3. We get 5 because we have a base value of 3, maneuverability bonus is 1, and then we also have a shark bonus due to the emblem. So the number of moves is really important. We're going to do a split S, which causes our aircraft to fall back to the right, and we'll just kind of keep doing that. And I think with 5 moves, there's no way the enemy's going to end behind us. So you can see we just kind of fell back and then out of his range of fire. And so that's the key thing in this game is you got to stay out of the enemy range of fire. Meanwhile, you do want to obviously bomb the enemy. So at this point, we can see the wind is very weak. We can choose the altitude to bomb from. I'm going to go high altitude because it increases the reticle speed, but has only 25% chance of an enemy fighter intercepting me and shooting me down, as opposed to 50% at medium altitude or 75% at low altitude. So I'll go with high altitude, and you can see these reticles move back and forth, and we basically just have to line the reticles up inside this target, and we managed to do that, and I think we destroyed that target. We did. So there, and then this kind of just keeps happening over the course of the, over the course of the mission that we're flying, as you just kind of keep getting these different encounters that show up, and then you just have to choose to drop your bombs and try and continue to hit the reticles. Sometimes you may show up behind an enemy fighter, and then you get a chance to shoot them down. But at the moment, with the weak wind, I think this is very manageable to continually get those we missed. To continually get those reticles inside the target window in order to kind of keep hitting them. So you can see we were 2 of 3 so far. Going to go back to high altitude again. And there we go. We got the drop. So that's 3 out of 3. That mission is a success, although I can't really end the bomb factory thing. So these things just kind of keep popping up. I'm not sure if it's determined by how many aircraft you have. I'm not sure exactly what the actual trigger is. But I believe the more successful drops you get, the more command points you get, at least up to a point. Ooh, so I'll take a second to breathe. And you can obviously see, like, you can either miss or you can run out of time where you pass the target and those kind of things. So you can see one of our planes just returned to base. It's saying it's out of ammo or out of bullets. So we'll have to replenish it. Not that there's a ton of motivation to do that right now, because we've kind of already succeeded pretty substantially with the mission. We're at 6 out of 3. But you can see these aircraft are returning to their taxi stands. You go ahead and give them an order to rearm. And so then we've got 7 mechanics up here who can do things. And right now we're assigning 3 of them to rearm these 3 planes. A 4th plane has returned to base, but there's nowhere for it to go at the moment while these guys are getting more ammo. The ammo does get drawn from our ammunition supply at the base. You can see we've got 12 ammunition, 10 fuel, and 84 spare parts at the moment. And I'm just going to kind of keep doing this. One thing I will say is I feel like it's a little bit easy to avoid enemy aircraft in this game, especially with fighters. It's hard with Stukas because they don't have as good a maneuverability traits, but at least with fighters, it's pretty darn easy. And there you can see the mission timer ran out. We successfully bombed 6 targets. We had 3 promoted pilots. We gained 10 morale and 80 command points. So 5 plus 5 times combat's 1. So 50 plus 5 times, what, 6? So that's why we get 80. All right, so let's go ahead and do another reconnaissance flight as our other planes kind of return to base. And they'll return to the hangar down here, and you can see these pilots have now taken some fatigue and some stress, and so that's something that we have to start managing. So a reconnaissance plane is just going to kind of keep flying over the target. Now, some days in the campaign, you get unique missions that are assigned to you. Today, it's sort of up to us based on what we recon and what we find out. But later in the campaign, we'll probably be told, like, oh, well, you have to hit these types of targets, like, you know, hit enemy vehicles on roads, or hit enemy flak batteries, or artillery pieces, or other things like that. So you can see here we got 2 new missions. Reconnaissance completed. I'm going to wait for these aircraft to get back in the hangar so I can assign them to the missions. And then it's already, by the way, 15:30, so it's 3:30 in the afternoon. So this is probably our last mission of the day. We've got an option to attack the base, shoot down 2 enemy aircraft, and bombard 2 bases or bomb factories. I'm going to go with the bombard factories just because I think it'll be a little bit easier. We'll assign 1 pilot here who hasn't flown yet, and then we'll assign the lesser fatigue pilots with no stress. I'll leave the stressed out pilot at the base. And so you'll see these guys are just going to immediately start taking off. So a couple other things. There's a warehouse down here. This warehouse sort of keeps track of our spare parts, our fuel, our ammunition. Spare parts are needed to repair aircraft as they take damage. Fortunately, we haven't taken any yet. Fuel obviously is needed to fly missions. Same for ammunition. And we get a set number of these items as replacements based on the command points that we have available to us. So I'll show that here in a sec. So you could see the replenishment rates there before, and that's based off the command points up here. So the more missions that we succeed with, the more command points we get. The more command points we get, the more spare parts we get, the more ammunition we get, the more fuel we get. So it kind of influences your ability to maintain a high operational tempo. Now, spare parts are less of an issue if you don't take casualties, which we haven't yet, and we haven't had aircraft damaged yet. But that is something to kind of consider. Also, the more successful missions that you conduct, the more sort of upgrade points you get for your squadron. And here's the first time the enemy's going to intercept us here. So you can see an enemy aircraft came in behind our pilot and shot him down, or at least damaged his aircraft. And you can hear he just immediately landed. Sometimes they'll get shot down and die, but in this case he's returning to base and saying his plane is making a strange sound. So maybe I don't know what sound it's making, but obviously the enemy damaged his aircraft, and now we have to sort of diagnose the problem. So go ahead and click on his aircraft. We'll tell it to look at one of these items, the fuel tank. So it's an investigation that's going on right now to see what might be wrong with his aircraft. And obviously this combat so far has not been terribly interesting. I've just done a split S until we're out of the enemy's range of fire. But there are other maneuvers you can do as well. We're up to 1,800 hours, by the way. So we're late into the day. Oh, no, I think I missed that one, too. Damn it. What are we at? 3 out of 2. So we've already succeeded in the mission, at least. All right, so our aircraft are coming back without ammo. You can see we're up to 17 ammo. We were, I think, at like 10 when these guys all took off. So that ammo figure has gone up. Meanwhile, it wasn't the fuel tank that's the problem, so now we're going to investigate the tail to see if that's the problem with the aircraft. And you can see our ground crew, 5 of 7 available mechanics are being used. If you're doing an actual repair, by the way, it does take more crew members to conduct the repair. So we found the problem, and it looks like it's just lightly damaged, and we need to use 17 spare parts out of the 100 that we had there to repair it. In some cases, you actually have to use a specific spare part rather than just generic spare parts. So you might need like a new radiator. You might need a new, I don't know what, new fuel tank, new engine, or other things like that. And you have to produce those as well. So by the way, you saw we just had that aircraft shot down at the end there. We did succeed in the mission, 4 bomb targets, 10 plus morale, 1 promoted pilot, 70 more command points here. So this is the end of the first day. So we're repairing that aircraft. I think this guy got some damage, so we've got to go ahead and figure out what's wrong with his aircraft. While we're waiting on, and you can see we have 2 Iron Crosses here, which represent 2 accomplished missions today. And now we're up to 240 command points. Now, we did uncover the issue, but it looks like we just need to use some spare parts to repair it. So let's take this moment, since we can't pause during the day, to look at a few other things on the airbase. So first off, here's the warehouse. It shows us that currently, based on our command points, we're getting 10 spare parts, 4 fuel, 4 ammo. If we go to the workshop, you can see here we have 2 different workbenches. We only have 1, but we could build a second for 400 command points. What do those workbenches do? The workbenches let us convert spare parts into particular items in the aircraft. So, for example, the fuel tank could be damaged, and if you have a damaged fuel tank, you have to replace it. Or the wing could be damaged. To replace the wing, you have to have one ready in your stock. Same for the radiator, the propeller, the engine, the weapons, the cockpit, or the tail. Now, so far, none of our aircraft have suffered actual components that have been damaged. They've just needed generic spare parts. However, there are times where you can suffer an actual component that needs to be repaired, and in that case, you've got to use one out of your stock. If you don't have enough in your stock, then you have to build one. So if we needed another wing, if we didn't have any in stock, if we needed to build one, we could spend 100 spare parts, assign one of our mechanics of the 7 that you saw on that main screen to build it, and then in 2 minutes' time, or if we assign more of our 7 mechanics, we could speed that production time up. If you don't have enough spare parts to build an item, your aircraft remains on the hard stand right here until you build a replacement part. If you fail to build a replacement part by the end of the day, you lose the aircraft and you can cannibalize it for additional spare parts, but you also lose the pilot. And so that's not great to have. Another thing that you can do here, you can go to the headquarters, and for every successful mission, you get a skill point. Those skill points can be used to upgrade either your academy, your engineering, or your tactics. In the case of the easy campaign, the upgrade levels end at 3. In the medium campaign, you get to the 4th tier. In the hard campaign, you'll get to the 5th tier of upgrades. You can see here, Eagle Eye is one of the academy upgrades. It increases the accuracy of all pilots by 10. Accuracy affects the size of fire cone in combat, so those little cones indicate where the bullets are going to be fired. Engineering is another tier you can go down, and this metalwork increases the durability of each aircraft by 10. Or you can go with tactics, where mechanics work faster. I think I'll go with durability. So you can see we spent 1 point there. Now we still have 1 more skill point up here because we succeeded on 2 missions today. We could continue down the engineering route, which we could do optimized production, uses less spare parts, or light structure increases the ammunition and fuel capacity of each aircraft by 20. However, these level 2 items require 2 points, 2 skill points. We only have 1. So we can't do that. So we can either bank this 1 skill point, or we can assign it to another one of our items. So we can assign it to Eagle Eye, and then you can see here Strong Arm or Condor Diving Technique are additional upgrades in that line. So we did upgrade the Eagle Eye and the metalwork for this first day's actions. One last thing to show here on the base is the sort of loudspeaker, and that's where you get your mission briefings, basically, of what happened. So reconnaissance found 3 targets at 9:30 a.m., started a mission at 11 o'clock, finished it at 14:30 with 3 pilots promoted, B. Braun, D. Dorn, and B. Brooker Knoll, and all pilots returned to base. We did another reconnaissance flight at 1500 hours, found 2 targets, started the mission at 1600 hours, and B. Bruckner Knoll was promoted for a second time, and all pilots returned to base. So if we go back to the hangar here, we can see that B. Bruckner Knoll, his status is danger. The aircraft has taken heavy damage, so we may need to spend some spare parts to upgrade it. But he's now first lieutenant, which gives him plus 10 accuracy, plus 1 combat moves. B. Braun, on the other hand, is a second lieutenant. He just gets the accuracy bonus. Same for Dorn. Kiffer is a rookie. Jager is a rookie, and Kirsch is a rookie. You can see their ranks here directly next to their names. We can also recruit more pilots and more planes. The day's ended, so I can't do that today, but we can have up to 14 aircraft in our hangar. So with that being said, oh, and those cost command points, obviously. Is there anything I can do, by the way, at the warehouse to get more of these things? No, it's just the amount of incoming resources is based on the number of command points. Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and we will end the first day of the campaign. You can see day 2. Are we going to get any briefing? Sometimes you get a briefing that gives you unique information. Thanks to the installation of radio antennas here in France, today we will experience the Knickbein bombardment. Being radio guided, the wind is irrelevant, and your planes will not be intercepted. Oh, that's sweet. So, mission of the day, Knickbein bombing, artillery bombardment. Depot seized. Our army captured an enemy warehouse. Some spare parts have been recovered, so we get plus 200 spare parts into our inventory. That's great news. So first things first, we're going to immediately start some new missions then. We already have our missions picked out for us today. There's no need for reconnaissance. And so we can do Knickbein bombing, or we can do artillery bombardment. We're going to go with the Knickbein bombing. 3 targets to bombard. Wind is irrelevant. Low temperature. No suggested plane. And it says you won't be intercepted, so I don't know why it shows me enemy aircraft here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and assign these spare parts to repair these planes, which had suffered some damage yesterday. Then we're going to go ahead and send 4 of our pilots up for this first raid on the day. Meanwhile, I am also going to go ahead and purchase some new aircraft. So it looks like if we go into the aircraft purchase screen, we can purchase an HE-100 for 60 command points, a BF-109E3 for 70, a JU-87 for 45, and a BF-109E1 for 50. So we've currently got all BF-109E3s. I'm going to go with an HE-100. You can see its durability, maneuverability, fire resistance, ammunition, and fuel stats there. So it's it's the same durability as the 109E3. It's a little bit less maneuverable. It is the same amount of fire resistance. Its ammunition is less, and its fuel is less. Why the hell would I want to... Oh, it's less expensive. Okay. Oh, heck. Let's buy us a good old Stuka. And then we'll go with another 109E3. That'll also give us 2 new pilots. So you can see our aircraft are immediately taking off. Also, having 2 new pilots will go a long way toward allowing me to keep a higher tempo of raids going without risk of my pilots becoming too tired. So lock the reticles in with a click when they become visible. What am I supposed to do here? Was that a hit? That's weird. That's a very different experience. So it's like... So I just automatically hit if I get those 2 reticles on top of each other? That's a new mechanic. That wasn't in the beta. Shit. Yeah. I definitely missed that one. How many do we have to hit? Just 3? So we've already hit 2. So you can see our Stuka just arrived. Very I don't... This is just a weird timing mechanic. Oh. I'm used to like wanting to line it up perfectly with my aircraft, which is... I don't know, maybe that's the wrong way to do it. But you can see our first pilot has arrived here, our Stuka. So, I don't know. This is, and you can see now at the hangar we've got 7 aircraft, one of them being the Stuka, which is now standing by. Perfectly rested and unstressed pilot. Alright, so you can see one of our planes is arriving back on base out of ammo. It's like almost like we've got like some kind of like laser guided bombing site. Everybody's returning to base out of ammo. And this is actually kind of easy because we don't have to worry about being intercepted here, apparently. So for the one negative about having larger raids like 4 aircraft here is when they all return to base at the same time because no one's getting damaged. then you can't as quickly return them to combat here. I think one of those is the new crew members. What are we up to? 7 successful missions? Alright, so 7 bomb targets. We get 5 times 7 is 35, plus the 50 for the combat, so we get 85 command points for that victory. So we'll go ahead... Wait, why are those guys taking off? Shouldn't they all be coming back? Either way. So now we can try an artillery bombardment. I'm curious about this one. I don't think we'll have the advantage of the Knickerbocker device or whatever here. But I'm going to use my Stuka since apparently we're bombing enemy artillery. This seems like a really difficult one, though, because it wants us to hit 9 targets successfully. I can't pick all my pilots because some of them weren't yet back in the hangar. But from a campaign progress perspective, the only real requirement is that we accomplish 1 mission a day, which we did. So you can see here the goal is to obviously line up the reticles. I don't quite understand, like, I can't get these reticles on these targets, and I don't really have a lot of control on these. The Stuka is obviously better here, as it's got a much bigger reticle. So I was able to get 2 targets with the Stuka there. So we're up to 2 out of 6. The 109s have much smaller margins for error. So it looks like I got 2 there. Does it give me 4 total now? Yeah, okay, so I guess even though they've got much higher numbers of targets you have to hit, you can hit multiples in a single bombing run, which is different than the when you're bombing the, like, factories. Yeah, I don't really know. Maybe you can drop while you're moving along that map. We just need 2 more, though. But I can only change course. Yeah, it doesn't... Alright, I got one of them, I guess. I don't know. This is a very weird mechanic to me. But we only get credit for 4, so I only get credit if I hit at least 2 of them. Meanwhile, you can see the Stuka has an enemy fighter behind it, and you can see how poorly this damn thing maneuvers. The only saving grace for the Stuka is it has a rear gunner, so they're going to shoot me down here, but I'm also going to damage him, so we're crashing, but you can see we're taking the enemy guy down with us. That's really the only saving grace, and they have better durability, so the aircraft's more likely to survive an encounter. Alright, so I got 2 of the 3 there. I can never line that 3rd one up perfectly, though, so that does... At least we succeeded on the mission, I guess. Like, I can't... It doesn't line up perfectly, so... I don't know. That's weird. Also, I wish I could just end the mission now that we've succeeded with it. So you can see the Stuka's being repaired with its damage. Meanwhile, our other planes are returning to base with no ammo. I'd like to just start a new mission if I could. So we've found the problem. We need 25 spare parts. But you can see, like, at the current tempo, ammo's not going to be a problem with the amount of command points we have that we're, you know. All right, so we'll try split S. Let's see if it lets us get behind the enemy for sure, like it was previously. Yep. Got well out of its cone. Sometimes when I was playing as the Americans, it was almost like I could almost get directly behind him and attack him. But there you go. Successful mission, 6 bomb targets, 1 enemy shot down, 1 promoted pilot, 85 command points there. So we'll go ahead and launch one more mission. We've got just enough time for one more mission. I'm going to wait till some of these aircraft get back in the hangars. And then we'll go with one more Knickerbocker device, I think, because I don't want to risk getting intercepted. I like not losing aircraft. All right, we'll go ahead and start now. It's 16:30. It's going to be the last mission of the day. You can see Dorn here super stressed out. 99 stress, which causes him to lose 2 moves during combat. So we're not going to send him up. We'll send Jaeger up, Brucker Knoll, Brown, Seidel, and Kraft. 5 aircraft going up. Knickerbean bombing. I don't know why I keep saying Knickerbocker. It's obviously not Knickerbocker. I can read, I swear. Meanwhile, we have 2 command skill points, so we can assign that to either give Condor diving technique, which raises the resistance for all pilots by 10, or we can go with strong arm. Well, let's wait till the end of the day to do that. Did I hit? I guess they were close enough. I'm not really sure what the margin of error of the 2 lines is. I think this is like radar bombing, which the Germans historically used, and I think it used 2 different radar beams to guide the bombers onto the targets. Not to like this level of precision. It didn't tell you exactly when to drop bombs on a precision target. It was more about like getting yourself over the right city or allowing you to area bomb at night or those kind of things. But it wasn't like super precise. In any event, it's relatively easy. You have no more bullets? Again, this is the medium difficulty campaign, so I'm not sure what's new or different. The Nick Bean bombing is different from anything I've played in the easy, so I'm curious what the hard campaign might have in terms of new mechanics. So this is a situation where you've got a pilot who's very fatigued. He's 82 fatigue, high probability of crashing during flight. So he's asking if he can come back to base. He's a first lieutenant, so yeah, I want him to come back. I don't want to lose an experienced pilot because I pushed him too hard, especially after we've already succeeded in the mission. Oh, I missed. I wonder if, since it was faint, if I got the other line on the target, if it would have been a hit. Why is this guy just hanging out here? He isn't repaired yet? Oh. I thought I already ordered him to reload his ammo. Alright. Another bombing strike. You can see here we're obviously not using anywhere near as much ammo as we're getting. Or spare parts, for that matter. There, you can see this reticle was off, but the second one was on target, so we still got the hit. I think both of those were technically on target for that last raid. And since we didn't take really any damage today, we barely used any spare parts. We got 10 successful bombing attacks there. 2 pilots are promoted, plus 10 morale, 100 command points for that raid. We're up to 395 command points here as our day comes to a close. So we can go over here. We've got 3 skill points to use. We can use them on Condor Diving, which raises resistance for all pilots by 10. Strong Arm, all pilots control the aircraft better by reducing the wind penalty. Or we can go with Optimized Production, 20% less spare parts used. or light structure. Increase ammunition and fuel capacity by each aircraft by 20. We're going to go with optimized production. Spare parts tend to be a problem on my end, so I want to minimize that, and then we'll bank the one remaining point. So far, I have no reason to build a second workbench or even build any more spare parts, as we've got, I think, enough in stock for our aircraft. Also, with this many command points, we're getting a ton of spare parts. So that's the end of day 2. Day 3 is coming here in the campaign. And we've been going for a little bit here. Let's see what day 3 is. Clean the lines. Bombing day again. Nick Bean still operational. Mission of the day, artillery bombardment. Fight the enemies. Nick Bean bombing. Okay. In any event, you can see our camp was raided during the night. Unfortunately, they took some of our spare parts. We lose 216 spare parts lost there. So you can see we're down to 54. That's a pretty big hit. You can see our stress and fatigue levels dropped back down a little bit. We'll only send 3 guys out on the first mission. And then we'll go ahead and recruit maybe an HE-110. I don't really know. I mean, they look different. I'm not sure they're really any good. We'll get 2 of those guys. So we're going to get still 10 spare parts every minute and a half. But, yeah. Anyway, guys, this is Until the Last Plane. So, you know, it's an interesting game in my opinion. Oh. It's an interesting game in my opinion. It can be it's not too challenging, but it's definitely something that I think is worth kind of taking a look at, or at least, you know, if you're interested in this, if this looks interesting to you. It is on Steam, as I said. It comes out today, and the price of the game is... I don't actually have the price. I'm not sure what it is. So check it out on Steam. There's a link in my description if this is something that you're interested in. Again, I'm not 100% sure what the cost is. They haven't posted that yet. But it comes out today. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out.